Hi there, welcome to I Lone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Taurus energy. And for this round of 12 zodiac sign readings, we're going to do this 10 card spread. And then we're going to get out an oracle deck. And at the end, we're going to ask what is coming up that people might not know is coming up. Based on if they harness a more high vibrational Taurus energy or a more worldly shadowy Taurus energy, because life is all about learning lessons, and our more shadow nature is our more immature, prideful, egotistical, self-centered, lazy, want reward without effort, petty, envious, jealous, competitive, the list goes on. And we've all had to learn lessons in life to detach from our more immature, shadowy nature and learn lessons in life. And some people have learned more of those lessons than other people. And some people have learned to love themselves and treat other people the way they like to be treated and are authentic and loving and just and fair. And how they're going to handle this storyline that we're going to get out is going to be different than how some other people might be operating in this energy. So we're going to read it from different vantage points, and then we're going to see what a possible outcome could be for people. We've all got free will, and we can choose to temper our more worldly, immature, shadowy nature, or we can choose not to. And some people, the truth sets us free, but we've got to even see the truth. We got to see how our shadow nature manipulates us, how other people in our life and the world can manipulate us and tempt us in our lust and our greed and our pride and our ego. And, we all learn those lessons at different times in life. And until we learn those lessons, we're all going to live life in a way that we think is just and fair based on how we view the world. Okay, so let's get out an oracle card here. I don't know the name of this deck, but we'll use it anyway. Okay, we have a card not showing itself, and it says, and it's in reverse. Heavy heart. Take time to nurture your emotional wounds. Well, the way I would interpret that, when a card is in reverse, just like in tarot, it can mean extremes. I think there's some people with this card not showing itself that are hiding that they really have some emotional wounds that they haven't healed from. And when we have past pain and heartbreak, fear, insecurities, self-limiting beliefs, things like that, lack mentality, we can not realize how that affects how, we don't realize that until we work through that, it's going to keep affecting the decisions that we make in our life and the types of relationships that we get in. In our pride and ego, we can think, I don't have to deal with that. I can ignore it. I'll just move on. But it affects how you operate in the world and how you view life and if you believe in love and if you trust other people. And so some people are hiding that they have these inner struggles that they don't share with people. Some other people, what people don't know about them is they have worked through those issues and they're no longer in that energy. At one point, they could have been to their own degree, but they've worked through it. Sometimes we can have shadowy people in our life where we could have gotten in a relationship with them because we were all to some degree in shadowy energy. Pain, heartbreak, fear, insecurity, lack mentality, more caught up in the world. And sometimes some people think if they don't like it if you're healing, and they'll keep doing things thinking that you're still in pain and heartbreak or wanting you to get back in that energy. And some people have moved on and they don't realize it. So they're playing these games thinking that you're still manipulated by these things, and you're not. I view this card as the overarching reason for the reading, and it's the Seven of Swords, which isn't showing itself. So the Seven of Swords can be, some people aren't looking at life from a higher perspective. they're not seeing things clearly. They might get caught up in their head a lot. They might be egotistical or self-centered, more caught up in the world. And other people have worked through those issues and they're not in that energy and they really are listening to their intuition and believing in their dreams. You know, we meet all these different people in the world and we can assume other people are like us. Oh, I bet you're in lust or greed. Oh, I bet you're about ego and image and money materialism. Oh, I bet you're selfish and greedy. You know, whatever other people are, they can tend to think that other people are that way. High vibe people have learned some lessons in life and they know there's people out there that really are in that energy of more about the world, more about themselves, caught up in the illusion of looking like a shining star in the world, and have fear of love. And other people have learned those lessons and they're no longer as deceived and manipulated by the world, getting caught up in people. They've learned to listen to their intuition. But there's always going to be people around that think they can manipulate you. So at the end of the story here, we have the Nine of Wands, which in high vibe is having good boundaries. I have learned there's some selfish, immature people in the world. And I have been wounded by people like that. And I have learned to love myself and believe in myself and not let people who aren't just and fair and loving and authentic and all those good things, they can go do what they want to go do with whoever they want to go do it with. But I've learned to have good boundaries against my own immature worldly nature, so I don't go act like that in the world, and to have good boundaries against other people who still are acting like that. So we start out with the Ace of Cups, or the Four of Cups, the Three of Pentacles, and the Page of Cups. And what that can mean is some people went through these life experiences and they realized, if I keep being deceived by my more worldly nature, lust, greed, codependency, whatever, defensiveness, past pain and heartbreak makes me defensive, I'm going to keep repeating this pattern. You know, I'm going to keep going that way and repeating the old pattern over and over. And if I were to move forward, high vibe, I view both the Knight of Wands and the Nine of Wands as Sagittarius energy, which is about higher learning and education. I need to wrap my brain around this game of life. I do not want to keep repeating this old pattern where I think a dream's going to come into reality and it doesn't. And so one of the things I need to learn is, for one, I was given the Two of Swords can be about listening to your intuition. The whole thing is, with the Two of Swords, we all have our dualistic nature, and people in their free will are either more aligned with their hopeful, believing, loving nature of self and others, or in their free will, they're kind of more about themselves and the world and fear and defensive to love. And I have to realize that. And I think we were given the gift of intuition, like our sixth sense, to help us navigate in this world. Because people, at the center of the reading, we have the King of Pentacles, which can be male or female. The feminine figures in tarot can talk about how we think and feel. The masculine figures can represent how people are presenting themselves in the world, because when we go take action in the world, that's considered masculine energy. Anybody can present themselves as stable, grounded, emotionally mature. I've learned all these lessons in life. You should be my friend. You should work here. You should go into business with me. You should date me. You should marry me. And it's just an illusion they're creating. They really aren't. They're really being deceptive and manipulative. They have some growing up and maturing to do, but they don't want to do the higher learning and education, because from the one wand that the Knight is holding to the Nine of Wands, that's the Eight of Wands. We would have to be inspired to move forward and learn these lessons in life. And the Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy, also represented by the Star card. I'd have to look at life from a higher perspective. Instead of being so caught up in my head, so consumed with the world and looking like a shining star in the world, or making it all about myself and my lust and my greed and my pride and my ego. And I don't want to do any of that. I think I'll just present myself as a stable, grounded, emotionally mature, loving person so that people in the Knight of Wands will want to come be in a relationship with me instead of having good boundaries to people like me. And basically, if they haven't learned their lessons about listening to their intuition and having hope and faith and belief in their dreams, I might be able to tempt them with these things of the world. The Pentacles talk about the things in the worldly realm, you know. And we've all been there. We all want these things of the world. We want to be in relationships. We want to have jobs. The King and Queen of Pentacles is the only married suit of the deck. We want to maybe get married. We want to have children. And sometimes we don't listen to our intuition, and we're kind of tipped more in favor of these things of the world that we want, that we cannot listen to our intuition. Our intuition might be telling us, I don't think you should go do that. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think this person's on the same page as you. I kind of think their dream is different than our dream. But we want what we want, and pride comes before the fall, and we go get involved in it. And we could offer someone a cup of love for them to work together with us, or to take a job, or hire them for a job, you know, depending on what person you are in this dynamic. And making peace with the past in a way is what the Page of Cups can mean. That, you know, I'm ready to move forward. I've lived my life a certain way, and we all could have been in relationships in the past where we could have felt unloved. We were working together with people that we wish were more emotionally mature and stable and grounded and loving. But we still kind of hadn't worked through that. And then with the Five of Wands here, which is Leo energy, it can still kind of have us in our ego. And it could have been even when we were growing up as we were children. Could have been with our parents. You know, there was these people in my life that I wanted to work with. I offered them love, but because of their own issues and their own inner conflict and their past pain and heartbreak and their defensive nature, they might have been people I got in relationships with. I married. They were my mom. They were my dad. Different people. And, you know, it didn't quite work out the way I wanted. I was trying to manifest inspiring people to move forward, being motivated and inspired to grow and heal and mature themselves so that we would really have a relationship worth defending. But, you know, they didn't all go that way, right? And we got in those relationships and we kind of felt unloved. And the Four of Cups can be like, we feel like we offered other people love and they're like, no. And so they could have been more aligned because of their past pain and heartbreak and their defensiveness to make their life maybe more about the world. You know, I have my own pain and heartbreak, not really into love. You know, I might kind of make small gestures of love is what the Page of Cups can mean. I don't invest very much. But, you know, we can work together in a family, and there might be, and in relationships and workplaces. But there could be conflict is what the Five of Wands can talk about, because the foundations that everybody in a workplace, a friend group, a family dynamic, the foundation that they're all operating from and kind of what drives and motivates them is different. And of course, you know, we kind of look at life differently when we get older, and if we get married and we have children, you know, we know that that relationship itself and also having jobs and all that stuff really can consume a lot of our attention. And, you know, we can kind of see where, you know, when we're children, we are much more thinking the world kind of revolves around us and that everybody should want to make their life kind of about us. But, we have other things. The 5 wands can talk about all these wands of things that we're motivated and inspired by. I have to be motivated and inspired to go to my job for stability and security. I'm in a relationship. That's something that motivates and inspires me. I have my own life. I have children, and then all those people have all their things, and we can have a lot of people trying to work together and kind of what they're motivated, just like parents can feel like their children seem to have inner conflict about accepting their love or working with them in a more loving way, right? So we all got these issues growing up. And because we've all had those issues, then kind of when we do get older and we're more grown up and we're in kind of living our life, we're dealing with all these other people in the world that have all their issues from when they grew up. And did people learn to offer themselves love to their own worldly foundation, to make a gesture of love to the past, that I don't want to have that baggage with me anymore and having it keeping me up in my head and causing me all this mental conflict and inner conflict and make me defensive to trusting and believing other people just because other people in my past had their own issues that they maybe didn't work through, and because of that they acted this way and that way. And when we do look at life from a higher perspective and are able to put things in perspective, we're just able to kind of more see the truth of it, that everybody is where they're at. Some of those people never learn to offer them self-love, to make peace with their past, so they could change and heal and grow and mature themselves to be a more stable, grounded, nurturing, loving person with the people in their life. The 5s talk about change. Love is the answer. And some people never thought that was the answer. No, I don't have to do love. I don't have to offer love to the past. I don't need to work through these things and see the truth of it. When one person is holding 1 pentacle, if they harness high vibe energy, it means that they've learned lessons in life. And a king, in tarot, we have the pages, we have the knights, we have the kings and the queens. They've learned some lessons over the years to be more stable and grounded, emotionally mature than some other people in the world. If they're in high vibe energy, sometimes some people just have other resources in the world, like money or status or power or influence or looks and social clout, but they really are more being deceptive and manipulative, and they're really quite immature. But they look like they're, you can meet people and they can have a good job, they can have whatever, they can be attractive, whatever, and then you get to know them and you find out that they are not who you thought they were, and they're quite immature, and they try to deceive and manipulate people. Anyway, high vibe people have learned to take that cup of love, and some people are doing that right now. Some of you have already went through that. And as you took that cup of love to make peace with your past, from the 4 of Cups down to the 1 cup, it's letting go of the 3 of Cups, focused on those relationships with people who maybe aren't even in your life anymore, or that don't work together with you cooperatively from love. You know what? I'm going to let them go. They're going to live their life the way they want to live it, or they aren't even living anymore, possibly for some people. And some of those people I could really loved, and I wish they were still around or living, because I really would have liked to have had that work out. But, the whole thing is, we do have to deal with the truth, because the truth sets us free. And life is what it is. Some people aren't very loving. Some people aren't very just and fair. Some people are in shadowy Leo energy. They're competitive. They're prideful. They're egotistical. They might have these things of the world so they could think that they don't really have to do love. There's going to be other people who will be willing to get in a relationship with them or indulge them in a relationship because of these certain traits, qualities, or characteristics that they have, right? And then, you know, shadowy magician energy can just be people who try to manipulate people. You know, say some people, oh, a relationship didn't work out, or I have this past pain and heartbreak that caused me inner conflict. It's like, I have an idea. I'm just going to pretend that I don't got any of those issues. And I'm just going to try to manipulate someone to let go of having good boundaries, try to get them in a relationship with me, hiding the fact that I'm really kind of more about ego and image or myself, and it's really not about love. And then people get in a relationship with them, and what they don't realize also is that in addition to harnessing their Aquarius energy differently, where one, because sometimes we get in these mismatched relationships, that one person does kind of is more inspired and has a dream of love, and they've kind of done some of this inner work within themselves to be more free of those things that used to manipulate them, and they really are more stable and grounded and emotionally mature, and can get in workplaces, friendships, and relationships with people who they think are on the same page as them, and as they move forward in relationships with them, they realize that one person's either more about themselves and the world, the other person's more motivated and inspired by love, but they could have realized eventually that, shoot, I wasn't listening to my intuition. And then we have the Seven of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles, which, again, one person could have done this work within themselves to... They used to have a way of living life and viewing life, and they thought that was a dream way to live their life. That was like a dream. The Two of Wands is about a dream, because from the 5 to the 7 is the Two of Wands, about I had a dream. Aquarius energy also is about I had a dream. But as some people kind of healed from past pain and heartbreak and self-limiting beliefs and their defensive nature and indulging their more immature nature, because realizing when I go take action more out of immaturity or codependency, or not because of not loving myself, or more out of my ego or things like that, I kind of deceive myself, and it ends up that I get in situations that really aren't a victory worth defending, but it was because I didn't want to put in the work and effort to wrap my brain around this game of life and distance myself from acting that way or getting in those kind of situations and having good boundaries within myself. So then people do that enough times, they keep getting wounded. The victory they thought they were going to get, and the stability and security and long-term, like, stable, grounded, loving relationships didn't come into fruition. The dream didn't work out the way they thought. Well, we have to get out of our pride and ego to admit, maybe I got some lessons to learn. I need to learn to love myself, and I have to learn to love my own worldly nature. I have been immature. I have been defensive. I have been wanting these things of the world. I could have let my more worldly nature kind of run my life. And if I don't want to keep repeating that pattern, I have to be like a good parent to myself. And I have to offer myself love and compassion and forgiveness for the lessons I've had to learn. And then when you realize how hard that is, even with yourself, to like choosing to be a loving, nurturing, supportive, encouraging person. You can choose not to be. You got free will. But some people did wrap their brain around this game of life. I need to learn to love me. I need to be my own best mother, father, coach voice in my own head. I'm no longer a child I've already probably gotten in relationships looking for someone to take that role in my life, to be like a loving, nurturing person in my life instead of me learning to love myself. And then there are some people who are looking for people in that energy. Perfect. I'll be like the parent, you be like the child. I'll be like the boss, you be like the employee. You don't love and believe in yourself and believe in your dreams, don't have good boundaries to yourself or other people? Perfect. Let's get in a relationship. You should work here. Let's date. Let's get married. And I'm going to indulge myself in this relationship. And if I keep realizing you haven't learned to love yourself and you have inner conflict about healing from past pain and heartbreak and loving and believing in yourself, and you're kind of defensive of like having good boundaries to me, perfect. I think I can go be an immature player in this relationship, male or female. I'm going to go do whatever I want to go do, and I might be unloving, and I might be immature, and I might be manipulative, and I might be competitive, and I might be prideful and egotistical and defensive, but you're going to stay, right? And you're going to keep staying in a relationship with me, right? Because you haven't learned to love and believe in yourself? This is great. This is my idea of the dream relationship. This is awesome. You have not learned how to stand up for yourself, and you don't realize how abundant you are. Because if you're someone who puts work and effort into relationships, and you're loving and you work together with people cooperatively and you have that hopeful believing spirit, oh yeah, you're very abundant. You're very valuable. But you haven't learned to appreciate what you bring to the table. And some people are like, that's great. This is just the kind of relationship I wanted to be in. You don't know your worth and value. I'm going to present myself as being someone who's stable and grounded and loving and nurturing, so you should get in a relationship with me. And then as time goes by and I keep seeing that you're someone who keeps putting in work and effort to like make a dream come into reality, and you don't want to let it go, basically I can do whatever the hell I want because you're defensive to seeing the truth that I created an illusion about who I was. And then people get in those relationships, they feel unloved, they have all this inner conflict because someone who they viewed as emotionally mature and loving and stable and grounded is taking some immature action and repeating some poor past patterns of the past, maybe that remind us of relationships that we were in 5 years ago or 10 years ago or back when we were 18 or 21. It's like, what the hell? This is not what I signed up for. And that's when some high vibe people have to kind of do this work within themselves. And that's, I don't want to keep staying unloved in a relationship. I don't want to be in relationships with people who kind of treat me like I'm the opposition or the competition that they need to defeat. I thought we were supposed to be motivated and inspired by love. And I'm starting to feel manipulated. And I'm starting to feel like my dream isn't going to come into reality. And so then they might wonder, why do I stay in friendships, jobs, or relationships like this? Is this love? If I'm offering them love, are they offering me love? If I'm working with them cooperatively and I'm being authentic and honest, are they working with me cooperatively and being authentic and honest? Do I have inner conflict about loving myself? Is that why I stay? Why do I have inner conflict about loving myself and believing in myself? And then they start to do this work kind of behind the scenes to listen to their intuition about, maybe I shouldn't keep moving forward with this person. This person might want me to stay in the relationship. But if I think they're defensive and kind of immature, I could have gotten in the relationship and I had been more defensive and more immature. But if during the course of this relationship, I was willing to put in this work and effort to grow and heal and mature myself, and it doesn't seem like they've done that within themselves. And then you could start to think that, our dreams are different. I thought that was part of it. I thought we did do this work within ourselves to heal from past pain and heartbreak, grow, heal, mature ourselves, get out of our more immature nature, prideful nature, whatever. I thought we were both working to bring a dream into reality based on love. And that's when you can realize you harness your Leo and your Virgo energy differently, that other people are willing to stay in the relationship. It works for them. It looks victorious and successful for them. It's good for their ego and their image. Has stability and security. It looks good in the world. But you kind of start to realize that maybe that is the whole thing that drives and motivates them anyway. It's more to look like a shining star in the world. Not so much about healing or growing or maturing or being just and fair and authentic and loving. And it's like, wait a minute. I don't know that I want to keep moving forward. It might have all those things of the world that I do want and I wanted, but I also thought high vibe energy is about being balanced. I thought it was also going to be, everybody wants stability and security in the world, and we can put in work and effort for that, but I thought it was equally going to be about hope and faith and belief and love and be creative and inspired and loving, and I just thought love was the driving factor. And that's when you kind of realize that I could have gotten in some mismatched relationship where they never really were maybe about them operating from love. They like to maybe live more from their mind than their heart. They might like being more immature and being in a relationship with someone who indulges them in their more immature behavior. And they're kind of defensive to becoming more independent of their more worldly, defensive, more focused on the world or themselves or whatever, to be more motivated and inspired to be more independent in the world. Because high vibe energy and like high vibe Virgo is about being more independent. High vibe Leo is getting out of your ego and being more authentically yourself in the world, coming out from behind your false mask to be more authentically yourself and quit being so manipulated to present a certain image or status in the world for people to view you a certain way. It's like, you know what? I'm going to go out, high vibe Sagittarius. Life's an adventure to be lived. And in high vibe, it's about offering other people love and encouragement, just like I offer love and encouragement to myself. High vibe Cancer, high vibe Leo, high vibe Capricorn, all the cup energies, water sign energies of Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. Life is about learning these lessons and going on this adventure. And not everything we go pursue and the people that we meet are going to be on the same page as us. And we need to not get so manipulated by that and get up in our head about it. They are where they're at. They view life the way they view it. They're motivated and inspired by what they're motivated and inspired by and what they want to make their life about or invest their time and energy in. I don't have to take it personally. I can only take responsibility for how I might act. And if I feel like I'm offering people love, being authentic, working with them cooperatively, kind of staying, the 5s and the 6s can be about staying in balance. And I have good boundaries within myself to be who I present myself as being, not being deceptive and manipulative, not manipulating people, not trying to confuse people about the truth of who I am. I'm trying to manifest the things that other people want in the world, but I want it to be inspired, high vibe fire energy, by truth and love. And that's why I want to do what I do. That's why I want to get in certain jobs and work at certain places and be in friendships and relationships with people. Not because And if I have previously gotten in relationships just because I was sad, well, if I get in a relationship with someone because I'm sad, a relationship might work for a while, but it might not work out long term. If I get in a relationship because I haven't learned to love myself, well, I'm probably going to be rejecting of people who try to love me because, well, I reject me. Why are you loving me? And sometimes you can be a very loving person and loving to other people, but you can have a pattern of getting in relationships with other people who have inner conflict about being loving. Like, I can love, love, love you, but if I get in a relationship with someone who's more authentic and loving and they want to love me, oh, well, no. No, no, no. No, I'm not comfortable with that. And then we have to figure out, why am I not comfortable? And it can be because of our childhood and being rejected or our inner conflict. I'd rather try to make someone else love me and heal and grow. And then if they love me, maybe I'd feel like I earned it. But for someone just to want to like me and love me, it's like, why? What? No. And it can just be out of your comfort zone. Anyway, high vibe people end up working through all of that to get to the truth. Because the truth sets us free. And drop the burden. To come out with the Ace of Wands, we have to have completed the Ten of Wands and kind of work through all the inner conflict we have, because there are these things in the world that we want. But am I willing to get myself involved in things or stay in things that really aren't aligned with my truth, and because they look good by worldly standards? And, we could have gotten ourselves in some situations and didn't even know that's what it was till later. And then, because we're kind of defensive of believing in ourselves, we can stay in situations that really aren't aligned with our truth. And we're kind of hiding that we're defensive because we're afraid of becoming independent of it. Like leaving that job, getting out of a friendship or a friendship group, getting out of a relationship or a marriage. But the longer we stay in it, the more it causes us inner conflict. And eventually, people can offer love and encouragement to people in their life for a long time. And there's some people still doing that. Nope, I'm still not ready to listen to my intuition. I am still not ready to stand up for myself. I am still not ready to become independent. And they're staying in certain jobs, friendships, and relationships. And we all have to listen to our own intuition, because we don't want to make the decision to get out, and then we really, don't want to get in the pattern. And of course, when we were younger, we could have done that a lot, where you break up and get back together, break up, get back together. It's like, no, I do not want to do that. That either the truth is we're on the same page, or the truth is we're not. And it can get to that stage where it's kind of like the last time, someone keeps trying to move a relationship forward in hope and faith and belief and love. They're looking back at some people in their life. It's like, are you coming? And they're like, no, no, no. How long can we stay in denial of the truth? And hide from the fact that some of the people in our life are hiding their defensive to moving forward in that way. That is not their dream. From the 7 to the 9, I have a way of viewing life. I might not have told you, or I might be not coming right out and saying it. But I have a way of viewing life, and this is how I want to live it. I do not want to let go of that Two of Wands dream to move forward, to take that back and have better boundaries within myself. I don't want to have better boundaries within myself. I might not want to do love. I might be immature. I might love myself, and really it's more about me. I might not want to see the truth of it. I might be very competitive. I might be very materialistic or self-indulgent, or have things I like to indulge in, more so that I make more important than love. I might have other people in my life who manipulate me, and I don't want to see the truth of that. And if those people aren't going to move forward like this, then I'm not going to move forward like that. You know, at what point are we going to see the truth? And there gets to be a point where some people say, this is like the last time I'm going to communicate with you. And some people are doing that in these situations that they're in. Do you want to move forward with me in this way? And some of the more shadowy people in their life aren't going to listen to their intuition that this person has been doing some work within themselves. They're not the same person they used to be when they tried this shit, you know? And that this person has been doing this work within themselves to feel more stable and grounded and abundant within themselves. And some people are like, oh, no, 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 I'm sure they won't leave. I'm sure they won't leave. I'm going to keep doing this. I think I can keep manipulating them. I'm going to keep rejecting their love. I'm going to keep paying attention to these other things or other people. I think, you know, because they want this to work out, or they love me, or they're married to me, or they want to marry me, I am sure I can keep manipulating them. And for some of them, this could be the end of the relationship. Some people are like, that's it, I'm done. I am no longer in denial of the truth. I am no longer going to defend this relationship. This relationship might have a lot of things of the world, but if it's not more balanced and just and fair, and sometimes, you know, people could be in relationships with people who are very abundant in love, but they don't love themselves to put in work and effort to grow and heal and mature themselves, like in their own unique talents and skills and interests, to be more stable and grounded in their worldly nature. And it's like, you know, I can really love you, but if you don't want to emotionally invest in your more worldly nature, to put in work and effort, you know, and you think it is all supposed to be, you know, because it's all supposed to be balanced. All four aspects of ourself are important. Our loving nature, our truth, our intellect, our mind, our worldly nature, and our stability and security, and our passionate, creative, inspired nature. You know, and some people are like, no, we should just sit around and do whatever all day. It's like, we might have a lot of things that are creative and inspired and hopeful and believing and loving, but you know, you seem to have a conflict getting a job, you know, and we might need, it's supposed to be in balance, you know, and putting in work and effort to have balance in our life. So whichever case and way it could go, some people could be communicating with some people that they realize they're not on the same page. Some people feel unloved in a relationship that they got themselves in. They would like a new beginning. They would like it to be more, maybe get in a formal commitment. And that was the impression people gave, that they were willing to do that. But the other people were hiding that, no, I'm defensive to doing that. I was just kind of indulging myself in this relationship. And if the people they're in that relationship with, and same way, people can make people a gesture to come work for them. Oh, we are such supportive, encouraging people here. And then you get in the job, it's like, oh my gosh, you people, or you anyway, are not anything like you said you were. You are defensive, you are immature, you are manipulative, you are in complete denial. And people keep leaving that job. And they're like, oh, well, someone else will come and work here. And then some of the other people that can be in people's lives, if it's friendship or romantic, and in workplaces, other people, because they're kind of codependent on that person, or that's how they live their life and that's how they act, they keep indulging those people in their poor behavior. And other people are like, we're leaving. You can get someone else to work here or be in a relationship with you. High vibe people are doing the work within themselves to work through their mental conflict and their defensiveness, to being more independent and stand up for themselves, to the things that manipulate them within themselves and people in their life that kind of tempt them to be in more immature worldly energy, or not make their life about love, because maybe those people don't make their life about love, and maybe they're kind of immature, or they make their life more about being in relationships that are more superficial and shallow, and they should do that. And some high vibe people are like, I don't want to do that. And the people that are in a mismatched relationship are struggling, the high vibe people, to see the truth. For people that are both kind of shadowy, they both might be people who reject love. They are more emotionally invested in the world and ego and image and money and materialism, but of course they don't want people to know that. And that's why they kind of get in relationships. It's all to create this illusion that they look like a shining star in the world. And if they're in a relationship with someone who's motivated by those same things, then those people will probably keep indulging each other in a relationship, because the most important thing is to create this illusion about how wonderful their life is. It doesn't matter if they love the people. It doesn't matter if they don't really get along. The most important thing is to create this illusion of how wonderful our life is. And if you're willing to indulge me and I'm willing to indulge you, we should keep defending this, because neither one of us, some people really have a problem with being single, because they think it says something about their worth and value. And high vibe people are like, so you want me to just get in a relationship more because of my ego? I don't want to get in a relationship just because someone who isn't the right person isn't in my life. I don't want to just go indulge myself in a relationship with someone who really isn't the right person for me. I want to be available and free, that when I do meet someone who I want to be in a relationship with, I am free to be in a relationship with them. And some people didn't do that. And because they got themselves maybe in a relationship that they shouldn't have gotten themselves into, then you can get caught up in an illusion you created. People got in it and created this illusion. Oh my gosh, yes, this is so great and this is so wonderful. And then someone comes along who really is like the type of person they'd like to be in a relationship, but then they have all this inner conflict and kind of in their ego. And also, their status, their image, will people view them as a player? The truth sets you free. Just be truthful and honest. It could have been great when you got in it. Things could have changed as you went through it. Maybe you got in it, to not live a life of illusion. Quit being so manipulated by your worldly nature. Things like that. Let's see. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Taurus energy? And the people who think, oh no, if you know some people in your high vibe energy that have inner conflict about growing up or being in a more formal commitment, oh my gosh, I don't want to that's too many. They're going to go on a journey. Things probably aren't going to turn out the way they want. But as time goes by, you kind of realize that, and what they don't realize, some people are off indulging themselves right now, thinking if it looks to them like maybe you're not getting in a new relationship, but you could be putting in work and effort like into your career, they could think that you're still defensive to getting in a new relationship. And they'll just keep indulging until you do take action to get in a new relationship. Or they think that you'll come chase them. But by you staying over here, it's like you communicating to them, I'm not going to chase after you. And while you're doing whatever you're doing, I'm doing this work to realize that you're not someone I want to be in a relationship with anyway, because you don't act with character and integrity. And I want to be in a relationship. That's high vibe Taurus. I want to be in a relationship with someone who's not more immature and indulgent and deceptive and manipulative and prideful and egotistical and defensive. So the more time that goes by, the more it gets to be that you don't want to be in a relationship with those people. Those people go do what they do. They then feel like they're missing an opportunity in love because they're in relationships with people who are like them, who are kind of immature and competitive and prideful and manipulative. And then they could think, maybe they could make an offer to you and thinking that because you have this inner conflict that you'd come running back. But the thing is, they weren't seeing things clearly. That you changed while they were off doing what they were doing. You were doing this work within yourself. You're no longer in mental conflict about them. You no longer view this as a victory worth defending. You have become independent of them and have good boundaries. And you might wish people peace and love. Well, I'm glad if you worked through whatever you needed to work through. And now if you think you want to come back and try to manipulate me again, no, I've seen through the illusion. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Virgo energy? The Judgment card, the Eight of Cups, the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Pentacles. Why? Because of the King of Wands. You called judgment on people who walked away from you because they were more interested in indulging their ego and being more maybe about money and materialism, and more about themselves for some. Other people you might have wanted to be in a relationship with, but those people moved on ahead of you. And, when you guys weren't on the same page, some of those other people were high vibe people. And just like you, as you're moving forward, will be in this energy in relationship to some other people from your past who might want to come towards you. But, people move forward in life to love themselves and emotionally grow and mature themselves. And they get in relationships with other people who are on the same page as them. So you could be sad that some people in your life are kind of more immature. You could be kind of sad that some of the people that you think are more on the same page as you have moved on with other people or already in relationships. Well, the whole thing is the divine has a plan for your life. So keep going on the adventure, keep moving forward, keep standing up for yourself, and judgment will go in your favor. Don't go back and repeat an old pattern with, if people have grown and healed and mature, people in your past, people in your present, people you meet in your future, those are people you can move forward with because you're just looking for people who've learned some of the same lessons you've learned. But if they haven't, you're going to call judgment on them and you're going to keep your distance from them. You only want to emotionally invest in people who are being authentic and inspired by love. And the people in your life who aren't, why would I keep investing time, energy, and effort into them? They've already shown me that this isn't what motivates and inspires them. Oh, got an alarm on my phone. And then I think as you're moving forward in that energy, there is going to be other people that some people will feel like they missed an opportunity with you and they'll have inner conflict, but they still have inner conflict about growing up and maturing themselves. So they keep giving in to indulging their more immature nature. I am too prideful to admit that maybe I had lessons to learn in growing up and healing to do, or I just don't view life that way. I would love to have been in a relationship with you, but you do look at life from a higher perspective. You do think there's a higher truth and justice to make your life about, and I just think it's about the world and attaining these things, and you want more from life, and, there's not just that. And they know that you're going to go forward and be in friendships and relationships with people that are inspiring and emotionally mature and authentic, and where people are more independent of being so caught up in themselves and the world. And some of the people in your life will just go back and try to manipulate someone else because they're still defensive to the truth that it should be about love. What's coming up for some of the people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Virgo energy that they don't see coming? The Death card. Why? because of the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands. So over here, Taurus energy is about kind of our philosophy of life. This has all three of the fire signs, Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius. And over here we have all three of the Page of Cups can represent all three of the water signs. So the high vibe people emotionally, and what drives and motivates them and inspires them is love. The other people still, well, for one, they're not willing to be more authentic and be more bold and brave and confident, to be more authentically themselves and get out of their ego. And because they're not willing to do that, there's always going to be some high vibe people in their life that realize that they're not a pair. One person harnesses these energies in a more high vibe way. High vibe Scorpio of the death card is about death and transformation. That you detach from old ways of viewing life and living life to give birth to being bold and brave, to go give birth to like a new you, just like you did age 15 to age 18 to age 21 to age 25. You shed like an old layer of yourself. You called judgment on a way of being that was kind of more about yourself, because the King of Wands is Aries energy, which is about the self. And you love yourself to emotionally grow and mature yourself. And then you give birth to a new you. And then you stand up and defend moving forward, living your life at that new way of living life. But some other people have a problem with that. And so they're going to have some high vibe people in their life who leave their life because they're still in their fire sign energy and Taurus energy philosophy of life. They're still more motivated. Love is less important, or it's all about someone loving them. And they're still maybe a more codependent energy. I haven't learned to love myself. I am looking to get in a relationship for someone to love me, or I want to play that role in someone's life, and I like to view myself as a stable, grounded, loving person, except that I'm kind of defensive and controlling. I want to play that role in people's life, but then I have a problem if they heal and grow and mature themselves, and then they're inspired to move forward in life differently, and they want me to heal and grow and mature myself. Like, no, 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 no. If you change and heal and grow and mature yourself, then you can go. And I'll go find someone who doesn't love themselves, and I'll start this process all over. And that's why you can be drawn and attracted to some people, because in a lot of ways they did seem like you. Like they were a loving, nurturing, stable, grounded, supportive, encouraging person. The only thing is, you wanted them to keep loving and believing in themselves and heal and grow and mature themselves. And they're like, no, I like living life like this, and I like playing this role and people viewing me this way. That's where it's kind of like a little bit in their ego. And I'm defensive to change. This is my idea of the dream life. I play this role in people's life, but I want them to kind of keep staying kind of sad and codependent and have inner conflict about loving and believing in themselves. And that way they look to me as like God in their life. I don't want them to love themselves. I want them to, shadowy energy is represented by the devil. The devil trying to present themselves as like God, like they're loving, but not really loving. I want you to be more codependent on me, view me as a loving person, not to love and believe in yourself, and shine your own authentic light, because I don't really do that. I'm kind of creating an illusion that I'm that, but I really don't have other people's best interests at heart. It's kind of more about me. And wanting to view myself as loving, but I don't want you to become more independent or love yourself, because then you won't view me as, like, be codependent on me. So, the shadowy people, if they keep living their life like this, they're shadowy Scorpio also. High vibe people want authentic, deep, meaningful relationships with people who motivate and inspire them to love and believe in themselves, just like they love and believe in themselves. But the shadowy people don't like that. I'm more motivated by me or the world, and I don't like you doing that. And I want you to make your life more about me or these things of the world or what we indulge in to make ourselves feel better instead of love. And eventually they'll probably get in a relationship with someone, and shadowy Scorpio is more emotionally shallow and superficial. We don't take more bold, brave, confident to be more authentically ourselves and become more independent of our worldly, shadowy nature or the world. We're motivated and inspired by the world or ourselves. We're kind of more emotionally shallow and superficial. Don't want to be more vulnerable and authentic. Don't want to have to emotionally grow and mature ourselves. Let's just make our life about these things. And they'll probably end up in a relationship with someone who's like that. And it'll just be the illusion of love, but not love. And the other people are going to be in creative, inspired, authentic, loving relationships. So there you go, Taurus. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.